morning, good day, good whatever it is where you are at. So, overnight, High Performance Group has released version 2.1 beta build 420. So we're going to go over this, we're going to check it out. I have not flown this yet at all. I have not attempted it. I have no idea if it even works. I'm sure it does, but we're going to learn together. So previously I was on beta 2.1 build 412. Alright, so jumped all the way to build 420. Now I did not use any of the Discord pushes over the last week. There was a couple rapid fire ones, one right after the other. I did not want to mess with that. I did not mess with that. So we are going to jump straight into this. Alright, so some of the changes that we have here. Avionics performance improvement. Can't really show you exactly what that is because it doesn't say exactly what it is. Flight model changes for inherent stability, AFCS off and on. I am going to fly AFCS off, partially to prove that it can be done because I've got quite a few comments talking about how terrible and broken this aircraft is because they can't fly the aircraft with AFCS off. So I'm going to show that if you're a decent stick, it is possible. It's not pretty. I wouldn't recommend it, and that's why the flight manual for the actual aircraft says not to do it. Alright, so new FLI version 2 with real-time limits. Be advised, collective SAS must be at negative 100 in order for the limits to be correct. So we're going to go ahead and drop that collective SAS down to negative 100. And we're going to see what these real-time limits are looking like. Collective control logic changes. Be careful at the power limit. I'm assuming this is probably an autopilot thing, but we'll see. Brick centering changes. Now, I'm assuming this brick is the little box around your cyclic. Somebody mentioned, cleared me up in the comments what the heck this means. All right, AFCS wow logic. All right, so ground flight logic. So of course the BK-117C2, as all the BK-117 series, does not have wheels. It has landing gear. Therefore, it does not have a weight on wheels sensor. It uses a combination of logics within the AFCS and greater helionics partitions in order to determine whether the aircraft is at in flight or on ground. And a lot of that is going to be your linear LVDT, linear variable displacement transducers. I did not just make that up, I recalled it. No, but really, LVDT. It's a feedback system to tell the aircraft the position of the collective, and so those LVDTs are used to determine ground flight as well as engine parameters, transmission parameters, oil pressures, stuff like that, so that it can tell definitively, no, I am absolutely not on the ground. Alright, fix for various loss of control problems, pitch up, yaw, spinning, etc. I got an idea. How about you just not fly like an idiot? Okay, yeah. There's every once in a while this thing just go nuts. FADEC limits now on VMS control page. So we'll pull this up. We'll take a look at it and see. FADEC is full authority digital electronic control. That is the engine control units that control every part of the engines. You as the pilot have no control over the engine other than off idle flight. Fixed interior engine startup shutdown sounds not playing correctly. Implementation details, you polish that. GTN 750 bug with offset item labels. Not entirely sure what that's all about. I've never noticed it. I have not been in the Discord in a while. Alright, add monospace font for mission text. Sure. Persistent global variables for mission systems. I'm assuming that just means that if you shut down with certain mission systems installed, that next time you start, maybe they'll still be installed. I'm not sure. Smooth fuel flow to avoid jumping numbers. Now, I don't know what the problem with this was because in real life, those numbers jump around a lot. Engine TOT startup simulation. I'm excited to see this because this is one of my gripes for a long time. That TOT would stay at OAT well up until 40 to 50% N1, and you should have ignition somewhere around 15 to 20% N1. If you don't have ignition, then N1 won't get above 15% because the starter generator can't drive it faster than 15%. So ignition is usually about 350C. I think some 300 350C I think is the official. We have ignition. So if you have 30% N1 and 27C, then I would say that your TOT system is not reading properly. So I'm excited to see this. Hydraulic pressure parameter updated more accurately match the systems. We'll see. Hydraulic pressure stays constant throughout the flight. This is a variable displacement constant pressure system. It should be at 103 plus or minus a couple bar, but 103 bar throughout the entire flight. And this system does a really good job of building that pressure even with very low rotor speeds. So when you shut down, it takes a long time for that hydraulic pressure to slope off when the rotor coasts down. Load mission and has mission APIs. I don't mess with the APIs. I would love to. Maybe one day I can be cool and make missions. But I don't mess with the APIs. So, just radar altimeter landed exactly 0. Now, this is one thing that I've always noticed. The radar altimeter always goes to 1. 1 foot is the radar altimeter when you're sitting on the ground. So we're going to see if that actually does. Power up test logic fixes. Now, I'm not sure what logics were fixed or what the problems were. But we'll see. OEI high-low now visible on the VMS FLI after changing the setting. Now, the only time you should be able to see the OEI high-low is when you are, in fact, in OEI. One engine inoperative. So if both engines are online, you are in AEO, all engines operative. OEI means you have lost an engine. And then high-low is available on the tablet autopilot panel even when in AEO. So, I'll agree with that because the button is physically present on the collective. Regardless of whether you're in AEO or OEI, it is a physical button. So it's not like that thing just disappears. So it does make sense to have that on the pilot even when in AEO. It's just not going to do anything because you can't perform, there is no topping. And if anybody would like to know what this OEI high-low and OEI topping is and what the purpose of it is, let me know in the comments. I'll make another video about it. I'm not going to get into it on this one because it's fairly complex. All right. The other thing where we saw it up here, FLI, first limit indication. I'm going to do a dedicated video on that, so I'm not going to get into that right now. I will make an entirely different video on that because FLI is a fairly complex topic, especially on this aircraft. FLI is purely inside of the EECU, Electronic Engine Control Units. Fixed a bug where the engine starter sound would play even if the battery was off. I had noticed this. I never even considered the fact that it wasn't actually starting, that it was just the sound. But we'll see. We'll throw that on and see what we come up with. Okay, cool. So I guess you can map this now. I never thought to map that. I know some guys have got tablets running on external stuff, and that is super cool. I want to do that eventually. All right. WASM extensibility point for failure system. So WASM is what the simulator uses behind the scenes. It's not really anything that you're going to need to know as a operator. Miscellaneous camera and H145M sensor pod camera sky is now blue. That's super cool that the miscellaneous camera, the sky is now blue. What I would really like to see in this miscellaneous camera is for it to actually see the environment. So I've tried to use it a few times to clear obstacles or land in very restricted landing zones where I didn't have a lot of space, and I wanted to make sure that my tail wasn't landing on a car wreck or the fire truck that was parked there. Fire up the camera and the camera shows nothing. back there except for the terrain. So it'd be really cool if the camera could reproduce the view from the camera, but I have noticed that Microsoft Flight Simulator, the ability to create new views and have those views be in different areas is severely lacking. And I'm coming from X-Plane. I cut my teeth on X-Plane, and you could create new views and put them on different screens, and those views could be completely detached from the main view. So that may be a limitation of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm not entirely sure. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into the flight simulator. So I am actually in Golden Triangle Regional Airport. I thought that was a fitting place to start this flight. The Golden Triangle Regional Airport is in Columbus, Mississippi. I think officially in Columbus, Mississippi. I don't know where I'll be honest, I don't know what proper address it's in. It's right in between the triangle created by Starkville, Columbus, and West Point, Mississippi. And the claim to fame, the only thing that Golden Triangle Regional Airport has going for it is host to Airbus. So this is where the helicopters are actually made. So I am right out here. This would be the taxiway going in to the production facility. And you can see this building right back there is the production line. Here's the flight line where all the final test flights are done, and then final assembly happens over here if you want to add cool stuff to your aircraft. So I guess the first thing I want to do, since we talked about it, is I'm just going to go ahead and I get nothing. So that is good. Now what about, still can't vent, so super cool. Alright, so we're going to make sure that engines are both off. We're going to come up, we're going to go on and engage. Alright, so it did make mention of the power-up test logic. So power-up test is already showing, so that's all good. Systems all seem to be power-up test okay. Okay, sure thing. Alright, so fire test. Alright, bot 1, bot 2 used. Alright, I got Betty in the air, I got the bell, I got EST, bot 1, bot 2 fire. Engine 1 fire. And bot 1, bot 2 test in green. Come back, all that goes away. Bot 1, bot 2 used, comes back. Good check on system 1. System 2. Alright, bot 1, bot 2 used.
Fire. Engine 2, fire.
There we go. Alright, I got Betty, I got the bell. I got fire, bot 1, bot 2, EXT, fire, engine 2, and bot 1, bot 2 test. Good test on 2. Coming back. Why? All that goes away. We go back to bot 1, bot 2 used. Good test on that. We're going to do a lamp test. I do hear the audio test. Still gonna gripe about this. These lights should not be on. This does not get power until Avia 1 and 2 are online. However, I did hear audio test. We have all our lights up here. Lights across the top of there, and all our green lights there. So everything's good there. I should have training should light up right there. So 2 bugs still present. These lights should not be on. This light should be on. Alright. And we're going to go and turn that on. And primes 1 and 2 on. We are going to acknowledge that. And clear on 1. Rotor brake is off. Alright, blades are moving. Alright, TOT is on the rise. How about that? Boom. There's ignition at 15%. So, he absolutely nailed this. It was we'll see on the second start, but it looked right around 300C, and 15% N1 was ignition. So, absolutely crushed that. Alright, so let's get started on 1. We're going to go ahead and do our hydraulic test. Alright, so we are down on 1, up on 2. Hide 1 load pressure, hide 1 tail rotor shut off. Good test on 1. Alright, down on 2, up on 1. Just waiting for that hide 1. I should have waited in between. Alright, low pressure hide 2. We do not get tail rotor shut off on system 2 because that is only a system 1 function. Up on 1, down on 2. System 1 is a good test. Alright, so back to normal. We are up on 2, and everything is back to normal. Alright, clear on 2. Alright, let's come right in here and let's really take a look at this. Alright, so there we're going to hover around 15%. Boom, there's ignition, and then N1 jumps up. Absolutely nailed it. Very, very good. Now, the next thing we should look for, torque will spike, which will cause this one to come down, and then they'll match. Generally match. So there's that torque coming up. Boom, and that one comes down. Hey, I like it. I absolutely like it. Alright, now torques are not supposed to necessarily match at idle. So at idle, all we're looking for is for N2s to match. And then when I bring it up, then N1s are going to match. So when I come up to full power, we're going to be N1 matching. Torque matching doesn't happen until we're over 20% torque. Alright, so we're going to come up. I'm going to go back to front, left to right is how I prefer to do this. So coming across, we're going to go Lavix to pilot, pitos, primes off, transfers on. Let's go ahead and turn our strobe line on and arm the emergency exit lights. So 1 and 2 are at idle, pressures and temperatures are stabilized. We're going to come right up here. Now we're going to re-perform the lamp test. I get the audio test. This is when I would get those lights on. Still don't have the training light. All those lights look good. And we are also testing, oh, just kidding. Now we're going to come back here. We're going to test pre-flight, and our radar altimeter should go into a test, and we should be showing, I think, 100 feet, or maybe 50 feet. We should show 50 feet. 100 feet means there's something wrong with our sending receiving unit, and 200 feet means that there's something wrong with our actual radar pucks. Alright, so all that is good. I need to bring up the system page, and I was supposed to do that during a pre-flight test, but you guys just don't tell my evaluator. Alright, so we're going to do a SAS AP cut. Alright, we got SAS and Yaw AFCS degraded autopilot there. AP1, AP2, missing the autopilot caution up there. That should be there. Trims are offline. Pitch roll and Yaw are in yellow. Collectives offline, and I still have backup SAS showing right there. Backup SAS there's good. I'll cut it a second time. SAS goes to red. Backup SAS shows in caution down here. Still do not have the AP caution up here. Backup goes to red. Pitch roll and Yaw all go to red. I am fully destabilized. I'm going to go forward, back, right, and left, and systems are all back online. So we're going to come up onto the control page, and I'm assuming that these right here are going to be my FADEC values. Get to where I can see my autopilot control panel right there. Alright, clear left, right, and above coming up. Alright, flight controls and CG feel normal. Now, I will say this feels pretty good. I can definitely feel some changes to the controls. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? 1 minute. Okay, so one thing I do need to point out, we are at 0, so that is good. I need to bring this guy. I have the most difficult time setting these values. Alright, SAS all the way to -100. I've done this once before. I didn't like it. But Dave says to do it, so we're going to do it. So I will say, with that AFCS, it is requiring a bit more collective manipulation at a hover than I've been used to. I tell you what, we are just going to do present position right here, and off we go. So I gotta say, it feels pretty good. I like it. Oh, and now I do like that. So there we just went through ETL, which causes my tail rotor to become significantly more efficient. So that's why we saw that nose kind of pop to the left there. That is a definite upgrade. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's see what these FLI limits are all about. Now what I will say, right here, this OEI line is actually, before I had noticed that the OEI line was always right up against, let me see what I got. I got some pretty good people back here. That OEI line was always right up against the first limit indication, and you were basically never under the blue, or you were never above the blue line. So this is new. The fact that that blue line is down there. Now, one thing I read in the comments was something about a rotor droop above this red line. So I'm going to pull above the red line. I'm going to make sure that we do not rotor droop above it. And it does not appear that we are rotor drooping. You pull to it again. I'm going to pull above it, and we are not. Okay. Let me make sure here. We are. That is not correct. So the engines, this line right here is for your transmission only. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna get into it in this video. It should not, your engine is not gonna limit itself. Your engines don't care a bit about that transmission. They will overtorque that transmission in a heartbeat. The engines care about protecting themselves. So that's when the rotor droop happens, is when the engines start to protect themselves. When you are in AEO, you are nowhere near. So we're talking N1 of 125%, I mean, like way up there, before the engine actually worries about protecting itself. So I'll have to do a little bit more research on that. But now that right there is opposite. When you nose up, uh-oh, what the heck was that all about? Tell you what, I'm going to let the autopilot recover that. No, I'm not. It's not going to. Alright. So that was kind of weird, but that was a overly aggressive maneuver right there. I am seeing that FLI jump around quite a bit more than it used to, which I think is what he's going to be talking about, as FLI version 2 with real-time limits. That is absolutely more realistic. However, when you nose up the aircraft, that should allow more, that FLI should move up, and when you nose the aircraft down, that FLI should come down. So that's backwards. Now I should absolutely not have gotten a low rotor on that. So we're some bugs. Definitely some new bugs introduced. The next thing I want to do is we're going to go down.
Hands on.
So we're going to go into backup SAS. And the aircraft is pretty stable. I'm going to do this. I'm going to let go. Now, whoa, boy, it don't like that.
Caution. Terrain. Warning.
So I don't know what that was all about.
Caution. Terrain.
So if I override and let go, I am in backup SAS. It should not return itself. And we get some serious wobbling.
Warning. Obstacle.
Yeah, it should not right itself in backup SAS. So that is not correct behavior. So we're still in backup SAS. We are operating in basic attitude hold mode, which is not correct. Not the end of the world, but the aircraft is absolutely stable in this mode. Alright, so the next thing we are going to try is SAS Off. So let me get turned back to the airport here, at least facing crash fire rescue. Alright, there is SAS Off. Now, one thing that I have noticed in SAS Off is the trim release does not work. So what this should do is when I move this, hold down trim release and move the stick, I should still have cyclic centering because I still have force trim in SAS Off. Now I can manually drive it, and that works. But the trim release should absolutely reset my cyclic centering. Let's go ahead and bring the systems back online. We're going to do an OEI test. So the first thing I'm going to check is training mode. I'm going to see if it works. Nope, training mode aborted. Alright. So, we're going to go right here. Okay. So there's that right there, but of course it doesn't do anything. So we're going to go ahead and... Oh. So we'll see right here, we've got this little triangle, and that is my OEI high-low. If I go OEI low, there it is right there. If I go OEI high, there it is there. So that functionality is working. We're going to go ahead and pull some power. Alright, I'm in the 2-minute limit. I'm in the 30-second limit. Engines are still producing, so that's good. As soon as I come above... Now that kind of goes weird. It doesn't ever show me going above that limit right there. But it shows it over here. And now I'm absolutely topped. So now let's top it low and watch what happens. This should show above that. So that logic is a little bit not right. Because this shouldn't be moving. Like, that's... How am I supposed to know? So there, that's showing me that I am above the topping and my rotor RPM is going to droop. So that's kind of... Not entirely sure what's going on with that, but... Alright, so...
Hands on.
Back to where we were. We're going to come on around here. And we're going to start an approach into GTR. Alright, so realistically, what you would be doing in SAS Off is you would just execute a run-on landing. It wouldn't have to be a whole lot, but that final touchdown should have a little bit of forward speed. So I am going to terminate to a hover. Let me tell you, this is a lot of work maintaining this helicopter at a hover AFCS off. Still getting a rotor RPM when that thing pulls, so either the collective's coming on too hard, but actually I think what's going on is the engines are not spooling up fast enough. You should not be having a rotor droop. But we'll go ahead and test that level. I'll show you 300 foot prior, switches over to altitude mode, so that is right. Still showing in yellow because we are not synced. We're captured, not synced. Turns green, 200 feet prior. And now we're in altitude hold mode. Let's go ahead and bring on heading mode. Now, one thing I had griped about before is this: if I'm holding down the trim, that bug should not deflect more than 30 degrees. And it is. That bug is still moving just a little bit too fast. That rollout is absolutely beautiful. Alright, so the last thing I want to do here is, let's go procedures. I'm going to shoot the ILS 1H. Now, this is fixed. I like this because this didn't used to be able to do this. We're going to go load and activate. And then couple. Let's go ahead and pick up the airspeed here. And we'll go ahead and climb up to 2,500 feet. Oh, now that should not do that. The autopilot has overtorqued the system. It will not do that. Period. So that is a problem. at 65 feet. Alright, let's see how the auto hover does. I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, now there's that ground logic issue kind of rearing its head again. The pedals go nuts when you touch the ground. So I would say that is not quite fixed. Let's see if I can get this thing on the ground without it. What in the world is going on?